de Beauvoir notes that the subman can be quite a strange fellow. She points out how easily they can ridicule others who have in a similar fashion abdicated their freedom and accepted their own forms of unconditional value. Apparently, the irony is lost on them. Think of cultural Christians who make fun of those in other faiths. Further, she notes that submen can be incredibly intelligent people of high profession. Their professional technique may demand for them to disclose elevated intelligence. However, once they get out of their field, since they have not undergone existential conversion, they are frequently boorish, unsympathetic, and perhaps even dumb. Think of how a great doctor can be renowned in his field, but have a terrible bedside manner and be an absolute jerk all around. All his intelligence and sympathy is focused on technique and not the proper ethical disclosure of himself. This would in part explain a unique phenomenon. This would also sort of explain the phenomenon of the has-been, the person who is so great in a particular profession, but is lost and boring outside of it. The once inspiring general may appear quite silly and sad once retired and out of the field. De Beauvoir offers hope that existential conversion can happen at any time. An individual can take up new projects once they've left the environment of unconditioned values behind. De Beauvoir moves on to tell us a little of the subjective life of the subman. She says that his life is often filled with anxiety and preoccupation with forever establishing the idol to which he has devoted himself to. These unconditional values, in a way, put off his liberation in the reality of ambiguity. However, deep down, he knows his endeavor to be pointless and that no amount of work will establish the eternality of the ideology he has devoted himself to. It's a house of cards. He knows this, but is always prepared to steady it. What happens if the subman realizes the arbitrariness of this propped-up world? What if he fails within it? De Beauvoir says that is when nihilism sneaks in. Nihilists deny the world and all value in it. De Beauvoir notes is typically a perspective encountered in failure. What's strange about the nihilist, she believes, is that in a way the nihilist likes having a ready-made world to trample upon. He has not created an alternative. He just endlessly critiques the one that he is in. This reminds me of MTV's Daria, who gets kicks out of ridiculing all the submen around her, or an individual who likes calling people sheeple. They sort of need the submen for their perverse entertainment. The demonical man is also very close to the serious or subman. The demonical man senses his existential freedom, however, doesn't assert it positively, and his revolt against the established order only further confirms it and intimates that he really wants to believe in the unconditional values. Pretty twisted, but it does sound something like the psychology behind a comic book character. De Beauvoir hints that there are even more permutations of behavior in response to the anxiety of our freedom. Anarchism and surrealism are proper contenders. She goes on about these, but obviously doesn't see them as any better than the demonic nihilistic and subman perspectives. For even in their acts of countering all values, a new set of unconditional values gets set up, i.e. the reflexive critique of anything moral or spiritual or artistic. So where do we go from here?